Good morning and good evening, everyone. Thanks for joining today's webinar. My name is Akshay Kale, and today I have Mr. Tushar Wagmare with me, who is one of our experts in data migration in SAP S/4HANA. He will talk about different approaches of data migration, and main focus is on data migration using Migration Cockpit. Data migration using Migration Cockpit is very simplified way of migrating data. It will help you to map, validate, and simulate data before we do actual migration. So before going to actual topic, let me give quick overview of our organization. So Tushar, can you move to next slide? Reality is we are global consulting firm spread across different geography. We have presence in India, UAE, Singapore, Canada, and United States. We have partnership with many service providers like SAP, Salesforce, Tricentis, and many more, as you can see on the slide. We are already providing our services to major Fortune 500 companies. So without further delay, I will hand it over to Tushar to discuss about our today's topic. Over to you, Tushar.
Yeah. Thank you so much, Akshay, for the brief introduction about myself and the about the company. So let's move ahead with the today's agenda for the session. So today's agenda is related to the S4HANA migration. We are going to see the overview for that. Then the how the data quality is important in the migration uh, things. And then the approaches which are the involved in the migration. Then the migration cockpit, and then after the webinar, we will see the question and answers. Moving ahead with the next slide. So this is the what when we are looking to migrate our data to a S4HANA. So the migrating to a S4HANA is a complex process. It requires the proper structuring, testing, and the best practices to do efficiently, effectively, and comprehensively and securely. Moving to the S4HANA is undoubtedly a transformative move, but often companies find themselves in a fix when they discover the interfaces involved in the migration process. Realtys can help with its 5 best practices for the migration to S4HANA. So, organization must implement a successful data migration strategy to accelerate the seamless transition to SAP S4HANA services. Transferring the data into a SAP S4HANA will be a complex, a structured, tested, and a best practice-centric data migration methodology is needed. During the planning stage of the migration of the S4HANA, the company should evaluate the data in its present framework to determine how to move, use, and manage the data. This approach will aid the companies in reducing the risk, maintaining the administrative consistencies, and enhancing the ROI on their SAP S4HANA implementation with the help of robust data management. Remember, the navigating each phase of the SAP S4HANA data migration roadmap is crucial for the success. So let's look at the what additional services the Realities Technologies offers in the SAP S4HANA migration journey. So we will see the data quality for S4HANA migration. So there are the 4 pillars for that. So data profiling, data mapping, data migration, and data reconciliation. So related to a data quality, migrating to a S4HANA is an futuristic move. But honestly, migrating data to a S4HANA isn't as a straightforward. It involves a various complexity while the simultaneously dealing with a massive amount of data. And if dealing with the quantum of data wasn't confronting enough, you would also have look at the data quality. Your new S4HANA system is only as good as the data you move into it. You may want to move every bit of the transformation you have, but is it a right thing to do? Or is it a move prudent to carry what is required while maintaining the consistency and the accuracy? Doing the latter could be the best approach. Many companies underestimate the data quality challenges and it fails. But ongoing data quality is a vital to ensuring the data accuracy, consistency, and post-migration success. Thus, you carry only the business relevant data with you and expect the migration. So let's see these 4 steps. So how do you maintain the data quality while migrating to S/4HANA? It is a detailed process that involves the various steps and procedure. Not to forget the amount of planning required to ensure you move the valid and the quality data. The process usually begins with the cleaning data from the legacy system, whether the SAP or non-SAP, followed by mapping and then the migrating and converting into a format compatibility with the SAP HANA data models. The process then enters the reconciliation between the source and target to deliver the data quality and reap the role from the strategic migration move for all the stakeholders involved. So let's see the what do you mean by the data profiling? In the data profiling, you must perform the data cleansing only at the source. In other words, in the source system before migrating or converting to S4HANA, it is a pretty straightforward and inexpensive way to ensure the data quality. The process saves the employing massive and expensive data cleansing logic in a migration tools. So let's see about the data mapping. So data mapping has to happen correctly from the source to the target data models in S4HANA. It may seem like a straightforward field mapping activity, but it involves the searching for a common source of the future data quality concern. The process isn't merely technical. Instead, it demands a particular level of the derivation logic. Hence, it must involve the basic business users to ensure the data accuracy and consistency. So we'll see the data migration. In the data migration stage, the actual migration takes place actually. You must migrate or convert the data to S4HANA with SAP's standard tools like SAP BODS, SDIs, Object Modeler, or a cockpit. You may also leverage the third party devices based on the compliance and efficiency. Do not employ the manual approaches for the enormous data sizes. SAP's internal logic should from the basis for validating the migrating the data. We'll see the data reconciliation, how it will be helped. So now you must reconcile the data between the source system and the S4HANA target system. It will help you to meet your business needs. Again, the reconciliation may look easy, but you must use the appropriate tools like the reconciliation, the reports to verify the data. You can use the S4HANA reporting or HANA compatibilities to perform the reconciliation process effectively. So this is all related about the data quality. We'll move to the next slide. So these are the 3 migration approaches when we are looking on the SAP S4HANA. So first approach is SDS. So we call it as a SAP data service. It is an ETL tool poised to improve the data quality and migration related services. Second approach is the smart data integration, SDI. This is again the ETL tool, support the data extraction from the various source system to a SAP HANA. Third approach is the SAP data migration cockpit. This approach involves the 3 different methods for transferring the data to S4HANA, like the file methods, staging methods, direct transforms. We'll quickly look the how the approaches are look like for the SDS. So this is the architecture for the SDS ETL tool. This is the smart data services platform, and we will see about the extractions, how the extractions is done. So the data extraction is likely the most critical steps in the ETL tool, in ETL procedure, because it entails the deciding which data is mostly helpful in attaining the overall ETL goal. At Realities Technologies, data extraction for migration to the SAP S4HANA cloud begins with the reading the data from the multiple heterogeneous sources, including the flat files, Excels, XMLs, and the database like the Oracle, DB2, S4HANA, SQL servers, etc. So we assist the organization in tapping into business insights faster and making a better decisions by rapidly extracting a raw data from the critical sources. So we'll see the cleansing, how the cleansing is done. So data cleansing is convert the source non-unique data format into a target unique data format, identifying the irrelevant data and correcting the incompatibility duplicate data. So the in the data verification is essential step in the data cleansing process that ensure that the data is accessible, comprehensive, and the proper format should be there. So once the migration has started, our experts continue to verify the data to optimize it before the migration. Since the data cleansing adds or changes the value, so data impact analysis guarantees that these modification do not affect the other source and the target system elements. It also examines the impact of the data purification on the other systems that now utilize the data and those that may use it after the move the finishes stage. So it is the crucial to explore these areas to ensure that we can identify the potential errors beforehand. So we'll see the transformation stage. In the transformation stage, it entails the running the several functions and applying the rules to the extracted data to turn it into a standardized format that meets the target database scheme requirements. The data extracted and the business requirement determines the manipulation necessary for the transformation. So quality data source will not necessarily numerous modifications. However, the other database may do so. So realities technology uses the best practice centric transformation techniques to fulfill the technical and the business criteria for your target database. So the next one is the validation and the loading. So we'll see the validation. So in the data validation aims to ensure that the data was loaded correctly and to the extent required to meet the business requirements. As we are the realist technology, we understand that the business users data should be usable and accurately represented as intended. So our expert take the time to read through the data and look for the inconsistency to understand if the latter is harmful to the business or can be explained to the degree that it retains the same meaning as the legacy system. We help the format lookup values and mandatory checks during the validation process. And only when the business users approves the data, to do we then only we proceed with the data loads to the targets. So we'll see the loading. So data loading is the process of loading the data to the target system after the rectification and the approval from the respective business users. So we'll quickly move to the next slide. So this is the second approach for the SDI tool. This is a smart data integration, and it's as we discussed earlier, it supports the data extraction from the various source system to the SAP HANA. And SDI provides a tool to access the source data, provisioning, replicating, and transforming data in SAP HANA on premise or the cloud-based applications. So these tools then allows the data loading in the batches or the in the real time from the different sources by deploying the pre-built adapters. So here we can see the LTMC, LSMW, and the ABAP programs which can be migrated to S4HANA application servers. Again, here we can see the flat. We can use the flat files, Excel, the database applications, and the other services. So this is the second approach. Now we will see the third approach. So today's webinar's main agenda is related to a migration cockpit. So we will discuss more on this thing. So this is the SAP Data Migration Cockpit architecture, and it is the best approach for enterprises that have installed the S4HANA when we are considering the scenario like the new implementation and want to migrate their business data from SAP or non-SAP software systems. A migration object that transferring the data from SAP S4HANA to a specified business objects. It details the requisites, sources, and target structure, including their relationships. The cockpit involves the mapping information for the appropriate fields and any conversion rule used to convert the value from the source field to the target fields. So enterprises can thus utilize the SAP preset migration objects for their data transfer requirements. So let's discuss in detail about the migration cockpit. So these are the different stages involved in that. When we do the create the project, it is going to the migration. Then we are getting the data from the SAP or non-SAP system. Then mapping is happening. and this is the simulation process where we can see the errors, and then the actual migration process will be happening. Okay, so if we see the demo. Okay, so this is the file method and the staging method. So let's discuss about what is the file method and the staging. So file method, it is necessary to download the template file before populating it with the relevant business data for the relevant migration objects. Before carrying out the below steps, we would need to upload the file in the SAP HANA data migration cockpit. So this is the procedure, and in the staging, in these steps, the staging tables are created automatically in a HANA database scheme, post which the population is done in the staging tables with the business data before transferring the data from the former to the target system, S4HANA system. So this is the step one. Here we once we do the in the Fury screen, when we do the search tab and we put the migration cockpit, then we will able to see this screen. And here we need to click on the create tab, and once we create, we will able to see these two options. So first we will see about the migrate data staging using the staging table. Okay, so after clicking that, so we will able to see this screen. So here we need to put the project name, the respective as per the users, and then we need to click on the database connection. So at the present we have click on the local SAP S4HANA database scheme over here. So then click on the step 2. So after clicking the step 2, we need to select the development packages. So there are the variety of the packages available. So in the other field, we can see that, and this is for the local package. And then we need to click on the step 3. So in the step 3, we are able to see that there are the objects available over here, like bank, CO activity, cost centers, cost rate, internal orders. So these are nothing. These are the tables. Okay, so we need to select this table, and then we need to click on this side arrow, uh, left and right. So this object will be moved to over here, and then we need to click on the review. So whatever the objects which we wanted to move to our new S4HANA system, we need to check the predefined objects over here. So after we click on the review tab, we will see this screen. So here we need to double confirm the project name and the object which we enter over here, and then we can click on the create the project. Once we click on this create the project, we will able to see this screen. So here we can see the table 1 has been added, the migration object, it is the bank, and then we can do the downloading the template. So there are two options we have: download with the XML file and download the CSV file. So if we click on the CSV file, we will be able to see this Excel sheet. So this Excel sheet is nothing but the tables. So we need to enter the data as per the respective fields over here. And once we save this file, we need to upload same over here. So once we upload the file, then we need to do a mapping a task. Then after the successful of the completion of the mapping task, then the simulation will be happen. In this simulation phase, we can see the errors behind that particular master table or the transaction data table will be complicated, or data is heterogeneous or not. So we can see those things over here. So once we have the successful scenario, we can do the migration, and in the after the once the migration process is complete, we can do the finish project. So all this is about related to a file method and the staging method. Quickly, we'll move to the next slide. So this is related to a direct transfer. So what is the purpose for the direct transfer? Okay, so the direct transfer is the transfer the SAP ERP source system data to the target SAP S4HANA system. So in addition to providing the access to the source system through an RFC connections. So direct transfer also supports the data migration scenarios from the other applications. And the S4HANA migration cockpit is designed for an initial data load for the SAP S4HANA new implementation scenario. However, it is not necessary to keep the data in a sync between the system, realize, and a continuous exchange or a flow of data. So, or establish an integration scenario. So, this is all related about a direct transfer. So, it is purely related to when we are doing the SAP or non-SAP system too. So, but here we need to do the RFC connections. So we will search the migration cockpit over here in the search tab, and we can able to see this kind of the screen. Then here we need to select the create, and in the create drop down box we need to select the migrate data directly from the SAP system. So same like the earlier we have discussed on the staging method, we need to click enter the project name over here. Here I mentioned the sample FICO underscore the DD, and here we can see the scenarios like the what are the scenarios are available in the here we are looking at the SAP ERP to SAP S4HANA. So this, here we need to select this ERP system. Then in the data selection, we need to select the company code. So which company code respective data which we need to move from our old system to a new HANA system. So here we need to that put that company code, and then click on the step 4. So so it is same like the staging method, file method and the staging method. Here we need to select the tables which we wanted to move. Here I have already moved this bank object over here. So we can do the multiple things over here, but we can see the precedence over there 3, 4, 1, 2, 4. So these are the related means this particular object is containing the 3 more tables. So we need to check the precedings for these 3 tables. After that, successful means once we selected the proper the migration objects, and then we need to click on the review tab. Okay, so we can see these kind of the things after the review. So here again it is the same like the staging method. Once we upload the instances, then mapping task we need to click over here the mapping task, and once the mapping task is started, once it is completed, then we can start the simulation process. So this is the action tab where we can see the next functions. So after the successful simulation, we can do the migration. So here we also have one functions like we can do the 10%, 50%, or the 100%. So let's say I have the 100 of the records in particular objects. So I can move first 10 after 50. So there that particular option is available here, and the after the successful migration objects, we can do the finished project, and then we can see that particular tables available in the our new SAP S4HANA system. So so this is all about the data migration cockpit, and this is as we discussed earlier. So this is the best approach for the when we are thinking about the new implementation scenario for the S4HANA system. So we recommended our customers to go with the data migration cockpit. Yeah. So thank you for the joining the session. So let's over
Yeah,
to you, Akshay.
thanks,
Thank you.
thanks Tushar for wonderful session. And I would request attendees if they have any question, they can write them in the Q&A section. So meanwhile, while I'm saying that, I already see there are questions coming up. So the first one is, what are the post-migration activities that organization should consider for SAP S/4HANA data migration?
So so the post-migration activities include the data validation and reconciliation, user training and adoption, performance tuning, ongoing data, and the quality monitoring also, and the continuous improvement initiative is required. So these are the things we need to optimize to use the SAP S4HANA capabilities.
Okay, thank you so much, Tushar. How can So next one is, how can organization measure the success of their SAP S/4HANA data migration project?
Okay. So, okay, in this, the success matrix for the S/4HANA data migration projects may include the factors such as the data accuracy and completeness, adherence to the project timeliness and the budget, then the user satisfactions, business process improvements, and the ability to leverage the new SAP S/4HANA functionalities to achieve the strategic objectives.
Okay, thanks. Thanks for answering that. I see one more question before we wind up. Like, what strategies can organization employ to minimize downtime during SAP S/4HANA data migration, especially for mission critical systems?
Yeah, nice question. Okay, so the organization can adopt the strategies such as the like the parallel system landscape setup, then the data replication techniques, uh, and also the phases migration approaches to the minimize the downtime during the SAP S/4HANA data migration, and additional the leveraging tools like the SAP landscape transformation application, so SLT we have. So that is the real time data replication, which can help the ensure the continuous operations during this the migration process. So this can be adopted. Yeah.
Okay. I see one more question. How do we do data reconciliation using data migration cockpit? I mean, basically, is asking, is manual or need to use any tool?
No, it is the manual one. So reconciliation is done by the consultant. So they have to use the different tools like the Excel sheets and the reconciliation methods. So this particularly happening with that only.
Okay. Thanks for explaining that.
It is related to a migration cockpit. So if we are going with the migration cockpit, so we have the simulation process, which can be automatically taken care for the reconciliation methods. If we are going to the SDS tool, then we need to do a manually thing.
Okay. Thank you, Tushar. Thank you so much for explaining in detail everything. And we are at the end of the our session today. So I would like to thank everyone who joined the call, and thank you so much again for your presence.